Hey everyone, welcome back to Alchemy of Zero Phase. This is Eric, and I had a bit of a fun idea that I wanted to try earlier today. Went through it and loved the result, and thought it would be kind of a fun little quick tutorial we can show people how to get like multiple specific characters into a scene. And we all know that working with AI image generation, that sometimes, well, not sometimes, most of the time, when you say, I would like to see this character and this character in the same scene, that most of the time it doesn't give you that. And I'm going to show you an example here. So I'm going to do Superman and Spawn standing on a city street. Oops. Okay, let's get a couple things set up here. And let's see. Okay, we're doing kind of a portrait. We're going to try to get these two, this dynamic duo, standing next to each other, and see how that turns out. I'm going to change the model to a SDXL model here real quick, and we're going to generate a couple of them because there's a particular. I want to see if we can get them standing next to each other and get the sizes right. So let's just see what we get here. I want something where they're kind of standing next to each other, both of their bodies well defined, from each other, separate from each other. And it looks like that one right there should be good. So let's see. I think it's this one right here. Yeah, so, so this is what I'm talking about. I don't know why it's interpreting that. I mean, obviously, it's trying to interpret the darker tone of Spawn, but this is kind of what I mean. It's like you're getting... I don't know if it's bleed over through the process. The AI has a hard time defining two specific separate individuals. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just show you the process of replacing him in that same position and everything with Spawn. Okay. So we're going to go over and let's see. Got that. So we're going to save this image, and then let's grab that over here. Okay, so we're going to go take this image. Okay, we're going to go over into. Normally, I would upscale this image first, but just for demonstration purposes, you'll get what I mean. You can figure it out from there. So we're going to take this image and drop it into Inpainting first. Okay. See if it did it. I don't know if it dropped it or not. Let's try it again here. There we go. Okay. Now, we are going to switch this back over to a regular SDXL model. And the reason why is you can do inpainting to a degree pretty successfully with a regular SDXL model without using an inpainting model. There's just certain things you got to have in place. So the other thing we need a better prompt. I mean, this is great, but I want to have a better prompt about Spawn. Because we're going to be replacing Spawn right now. We may even extend this tutorial to do a better version of Superman. So we're going to take this, we're going to go over here in my prompt gen. We're just going to drop that in there. Generate just a simple prompt from that. Oh, not analyze, sorry, submit. Get a prompt, okay. And Spawn extreme level perspective. I want to make sure it actually specifies Spawn. No. We're not getting. Try to. Stylish Spawn, mysterious Spawn. Let's do this. Todd McFarlane. I'm not sure if I'm spelling his last name right, but the AI knows. So, yeah, Todd McFarlane Spawn. So let's go ahead and copy that. Grab that over here. We're going to go into the image to image. We're going to just drop that in there. I just wanted something that's a little more specific. You know what? The problem with that is I wanted it photorealistic. Let's just turn that into a photograph. I didn't photograph. Okay, that works. Okay, now that we got that set in there, let's come down here, and here are some of the settings you're going to want to pay attention to kind of help with Inpainting when using just a regular SDXL model. First thing you want to make sure is turn up the mask blur. Okay, this will help eliminate that border, that seam that you get because it's having a hard time blending in that edge. Steps you want to increase as well. Probably do at least 35. We'll try that and see what happens. We're going to leave the sampler the same. We want this to be a 1-to-1, but at the SDXL level. So we're going to go all the way up to 1024, and we're using the Sahasra Kotai model. And yeah, we got to mask out what part we want to actually manipulate. So we're going to just grab this. And now see with Spawn, think ahead of time what is going to happen, because his cape is everywhere. So I want to give this mask area enough space to accommodate the more wild look of the character. Okay. So what we're going to do, he tends to have a high collar, a cowl sometimes. We're just going to do a nice big area like that. Okay. It'll also help, like when we're using ControlNet, it'll help with bringing in the background and blending those edges. Okay. This is actually a pretty simple image when it comes to the background. Not a big deal. It shouldn't have too much problem with it. Okay. Now let's come down here. We're going to leave the denoise strength up high because I want it to change what's there. Now we may turn it down depending on how much it changes, but I think this should be good. Next thing we're going to do is come down to ControlNet. We're going to enable it. We're going to do pixel perfect. We're going to upload an independent control image. And then we're going to drop in that image we created. Okay. And we're going to select Canny. Now, Canny will grab every little detail, including the symbol, his belt, and everything, and kind of put them all right there. So we want to make sure we give the AI a little bit of leeway in what it can do with that area, but still maintain like the same kind of subject position, pose, whatever. So we're going to drop the control weight down. We'll start at 0.6. I think that should be fine. I think that'll work okay. We're not going to change anything else. We're just going to try that. We've got blur set up. We've got. We're not going to worry about Oli mask padding yet, unless we're not getting what we want. And let's just hit generate and see where we're at with this. Should get something pretty interesting here. The ControlNet is necessary to. Let's see what we got going on here. It's. Oh, sorry. Okay, so one thing I forgot to select was the only mask. Okay, we only want to inpaint this area here. Okay, we may have to. Oh, you know what? We are going to have to turn the ControlNet weight down quite a bit. I forgot. The Canny is a pretty heavy hitter when it comes to maintaining what's there. I mean, that's a pretty cool look. You're getting kind of a very dark version of Superman. It's Lobo-ish. I don't know what that is. So let's come down here. We're going to drop that way down. I think for the other test I did, I think I was actually down at 0.2. So let's go ahead and run that and see what that looks like. Okay. Okay, it's looking better. Not getting the chains. I mean, we're getting kind of the fill, Not bad. Let's drop that down even more. And another thing we can do. So there's two different things here you can mess with to really kind of get it to do what you want it to do. We can drop this down to 0.1. And the other thing is the ending control step. We're going to render it one more time before we mess with this one, though. What that does is it basically stops using ControlNet a certain percentage through the generation and allows the AI total freedom with whatever it is it's doing. All right, that's looking much better. Not getting the hood. I kind of wanted the hood, but that's looking really good. We're getting a little bit of oddness right here where the seam of the mask is, but I think let's just bring that down just a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to drop the ending control step down to 30%, about 30% through. Okay, what that means is it's going to start the image off. It's going to get us that character there, but at 30%, it's going to let go of ControlNet and give the AI full freedom to kind of work with it. So let's do that. Normally I would pause these images, or these renders, so that it speeds through. But I kind of want you to see this. So we're getting a little more of the hood, which is cool. A little more spike. Looking a lot like Venom. That's interesting. I wonder if what we can do is let's get rid of that. Spawn or retreat. Spawn with chains and very epic. I don't know. I'm just gonna throw those in there to see if we can get. I love that about Spawn. I love the chains. Let's go ahead and drop the ending control step down to 20% ish and redo that. So we're getting a bit of a bigger character, which is cool. We're getting more, like you're getting some of the chains, more detail in there. Yeah, not bad. Still, it's very, I don't know. It's okay. Maybe it's just because we're dealing with a fake character. It got that plastic look to it, but that's okay. So we're now starting to get a little bit of the color. That's okay. Yeah, everything else seems to be okay. Like, there's no seam here. It's blending it in pretty well. So, let's go over here. I want to say, wide angle photography. Let's just get rid of this. We're going to go, I don't know. We're just going to get rid of that. I want to see what it does. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's kind of what I'm thinking, like that. He's got a watch or whatever that is on. So that's pretty cool. So, you can mess with this all you want, but this is the trick. This is the key. And, by blending in that edge, using that the setting maskable, you can kind of blend that edge in a little bit better. Something else we can do, that's maybe why it's not getting to be so wild. Let's do this. Let's turn that up and bring this back up just a little bit. So just so you know, the denoise strength tells the AI just how much change you want to happen. Okay, when you're doing like an upscale, you want it down really low, so you're not losing the whole picture. You're just adding some detail to it, right? So increasing this tells the AI, hey, you have more freedom to change what's there. So let's do that. Okay, so it did change it a little bit more. We're still getting kind of that same feel to it. We got some chains coming off here. This one is not as good as the other one. And here is the drawback to increasing the amount of change. And this ties into the fact that we're using SDXL to do the inpainting, is you now are starting to see a little bit more of that border. It's not too bad. Like, you could pass that. Honestly, what you do is take this, and I'll show you how to get rid of that blur altogether. And actually blend the whole image together. We're going to turn this up a little bit more and leave the other one down low and do that. Yeah, so this is what I mean when I say, when you give it too much freedom, you end up with something like that. So, which is cool if it was a normal looking character. So if we come down here, let's just bring this up here so that I want to maintain that 0.87 denoise strength. But if we do that, that means we got to strengthen this up a little bit more to tell it, hey, no, you got to maintain this. We'll give you, I want you to change stuff but maintain that. So a little too high on the ControlNet. Drop that down maybe to 0.2. See what that does. Okay, I actually like that. It is a slight variant on the whole spawn thing, but definitely got the bracers and the chain for the belt and everything. I like that. And you got the chains kind of laying on the ground over here. That's pretty cool. Although, you know, honestly, I would love the chains to be up and flying around like they normally would be. But this is pretty cool. You got the cowl down right now, but there is one there, which is cool. I like that. So this actually turned out the way I'd want. And we didn't get the seam. I mean, it's almost non-discernible. In this situation, it's doable. It's workable. So we can actually take that. I love that. We can work with that. So we're going to send that over to Inpaint. And now we've got that image there. We're going to actually do a quick one with Superman here. This will be a pretty easy one because I just want to add more detail. He just looks so like soft, like blurry almost. You know, not really blurry. It's hard to describe. Almost 3D generated. So we're going to do that. And over here, we're just going to come and do change to Superman on the prompts. Superman flying. No. Let's see. Change to Superman standing on the street. Don't want it describing that he's flying. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Okay, let's copy that one. Come over here. We're going to do this. Paste that in there. And then I don't know if we need to change much of anything here. We can probably leave all these settings the same. It's going to give us a much different looking Superman, hopefully a lot more sharp, vivid look. And so let's just roll with it and see if there's anything we need to change after the fact. All right, let's have a look at this. Yeah, it's much better. You know, kind of the whole Henry Cavill look, which is fine. I think that's what the AI models tend to be a lot more trained on. So what's nice about this is it is got more detail to it. Obviously, face is a lot better, and it kind of matches the same kind of shiny looking style over here. Almost kind of like some, what do you call them, the little figurines you get, you know, or the larger, I don't know what you call them. The dolls, whatever. Anyway, so, but definitely looks great. It blended in nice. There's no seam around the edge. Looks like they're standing there. Now, here's the thing that you can do. Let's say you do have a seam. Okay, you've done this. I know a lot of people are used to using the Inpainting models. So, and because they blend everything in, they tend to work well, but they don't have the same capability as the SDXL model. Okay, so you can do this. Use the SDXL model. Let's say you do get a seam. Okay, now there's two things you can do to fix that. You can go ahead and switch over to an Inpainting model. And in fact, we can show maybe both methods here. Let's, this didn't really have a seam. I mean, it's got one kind of over here. You can kind of see over here, a little bit right there, maybe in here. So those are some areas that we can kind of adjust, I guess, a little bit. So what we would do, let's send this over to Inpaint again. So we get both those characters in there. They look great. Now, let's say we do have a seam over here. I'm going to show you the first technique of getting rid of this. And it really just involves masking out that area. We're going to shrink that down. And we're just going to grab that right there. Okay. We're going to grab this right here. Oops. Okay. You don't have to be super precise on this. Let's see, is there anything else that looks like it could be fixed a little bit, like maybe that area there. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to come down here. Let's shrink that back down. Okay. And we're still going to do only masked, but this time we are going to switch over to an Inpainting model. And my favorite to use is the RPG Artist Tool V4 Inpainting. Okay. This does require a VAE. So once that gets done switching over here, we're going to switch over to the VAE, the standard VAE, the 840,000 VAE. So I think it works pretty well with this. Now, mask blur, we don't need it as high for this, I don't think. We're going to switch that down to 8. Leave everything else the same. We are going to change this to a super basic description of, what do you call it, a city background. Slightly blurry. So as long as you get somewhat close, I mean, that's all you need. And the reason being for that is the Inpainting model is designed to take into account what's around it. And that's how it pulls most of its style. It's what we call context, giving the AI context. In fact, we're going to bring this up a little higher. The only masked padding pixels gives the AI more context to work with. Okay. So we got that. We are going to switch this again to a 1:1. But for this one, we are going to switch down to 768 because we're working with a 1.5 model. But this model is trained on some larger images, so it does pretty good at the 768. In actual fact, it does really good. And then we're going to change this down to 0.5-ish. We'll do 5.5, 0.55, because we want to change it. But we're not looking to get a whole ton of change. We're just trying to blend that seam in. And we can just disable the ControlNet. We don't need it anymore. Okay. Then that's it. So what we're going to do, sampling steps we're going to leave up high. When you're doing any kind of inpainting, you want a little bit higher sampling steps. I mean, you don't have to go all the way up to 50, but you don't want to be down under 30. Okay, so I usually will do 35 to 40, depending on what image I'm working with. I don't think we need to worry about a negative prompt necessarily, because we're just doing blurry backgrounds. We're just trying to get rid of that seam, so we're just going to generate on that. So this doesn't take very long, and it did a little bit better job of getting that out. It didn't change much. What it did do, it looks like, is it made the face a little more realistic here. I'm actually going to turn up the denoise strength because I think up to 0.4, you're not going to get a whole lot of changes, I don't think. May even add some detail. We may even, I'll show you the upscale here, maybe just real quick on this one. Let's go ahead and re-render this at 0.4. Yeah, so we're losing that blur. We fixed this edge here. Capes look fine. Overall, yeah, I definitely redid the whole thing, which looks better now. So that's one way of doing that. So if you don't ever want to, if you're working with SDXL and you don't want to use an inpainting model, this is one way to do it. And it's super quick too. If you're just trying to get rid of that seam, go ahead and just re-render the whole scene. If you're okay with it, just changing slightly, maybe adding some more details, whatever. Okay. So there you go. Basically, it's the combination of using ControlNet, inpainting, masking out the specific area so that you can change that character to what you want, or the person to what you want. It even works with, if you want to just do a face, maybe change the face out for something. There's a lot of things you can do with it. It's just a good concept to understand that you can change individual things in the image and still get a very good realistic look, or as if the character looks like it belongs there, kind of thing. Okay. And as a little bit of a bonus, if you guys want to know just real quick how to do a nice upscale on this, we're in image to image already. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this down to 0.3 again. We're going to go ahead and I think switch this back to the 4:5. And then what we're going to do is just slide that all the way up. Now, okay, I can slide this all the way up. I got a 12 gig VRAM card. You can, for people with 8 gigs, you can probably do up to about, I think it's like either 1600 or 1536-ish on one side and then 1232 on the other. Okay. But I'm just going to slide that all the way up and hit generate on that. Okay. Took a little bit longer to get that rendered out, but you end up with a decent image that is fairly sizable, and you get a lot more detail when you do that as the initial upscale. Okay, actually fix some of the chains back here as well. Okay, and even doing that upscale will help solve a lot of the those seams when you're doing inpainting using just a regular SDXL model. Okay, so the other thing that we could show you real quick as part of the upscale workflow. So we just did a kind of an in-place upscale, just basically increasing the sizes, turning down the denoise strength, and getting a larger image with more detail while maintaining the structure and integrity of the image. At this point now, what you would do if you wanted to go up even further, because right now this is a 2048 by 1640 image, what we would do is come down to ControlNet again. We don't care about that. We're just going to enable it. Don't need the preview image or whatever. All we're going to do is enable the tile blur. It's going to add a bar down here in just a second. Right there. Okay. Downsampling rate, we want to switch this to 2. Don't ask me to explain why. I think what it does, it downreses it just slightly, giving the AI some freedom to add detail. And then we come down to the scripts, do Ultimate SD Upscale. We're gonna change the where it says target size type. We want this to be changed to scale from the original image size. So scale from image size. We're gonna scale 2 times. So we're gonna go from 2048 to 4096. I use the 4X Ultra Sharp as the upscaler. Works really well. I love it. Maintains detail and structure, adds detail, and just overall, it's just a great overall upscaler. Okay. That's it. So we come up here. I don't think we need to change anything else. We're just going to go ahead and hit generate on that. And I'll show you how big it is when we get back. Okay, it's done. Took me about 57 seconds to do that. And we now have a much sharper image that if we blow up, why does it not look like it's bigger? Is it just scaling it to the size of my window? It might be. Let's see what it says here. There's a size 1664 by 2048, but we just doubled it. So let's go to image browser, go over to image. Let's just check that and see what it actually is. Go over here. Huh, interesting. It did not upscale it. Let's give that another try. What did we do wrong here? We're already at 1640. Enable this, tile sample, down sampling. Sorry, I don't mean to babble on here from original image, from scale from image size 4 times. Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's interesting that it did not upscale it. Let's see. I must be missing something, but you know what? Oh, yeah. Switch this back up to 1. I'm guessing that might have something to do with it. And then this all the way back up to here. Okay, let's try that again so you can actually see what the size looks like. Okay, I guess this is why we're here, because we're all learning. There was a step in this I missed, so there's a reason why it didn't look like it was actually upscaling. It actually was, but it was upscaling the original 1024 image, okay, to 2048. So I needed to actually bring in the image that we had originally done. Either that or we can even do one of these. But let's go ahead and slip this one in here. You can see there was a slight change there in the level of detail. So now we are actually working with a 2048 image, and we can now execute the upscale on this to get the 4096 scaled image. Okay, that took quite a bit longer. I know it's going to be an upscaled image, and we are getting some oddness here. This is probably a byproduct of having the denoise strength up too high. Typically when you're doing this upscale, this particular upscale, you're down. I didn't think about this either before. So you'd want it down at 0.2. Okay, but we can take a look at the image anyway. You can get an idea of just how big it's making it, adding a lot of detail into it. Even gave him a nice little nipple. But you're typically going to get a much bigger image, a lot more detail in various aspects of it. That's interesting. It's not updating the screen here. There we go. That was weird. Did a little weirdness with his face. Yeah, I would definitely turn down the denoise strength so that it's not doing this. It distorts stuff really bad when that's turned up too high and you're doing that final upscale, getting that 4K image. So let's do it one more time. I want you to see a good quality image so you know it does actually work. This is how I typically do it. Again, I apologize with having that up too high there. Let's go ahead and re-render it one more time so you can get an idea of what I mean. Okay, we may have to do another tutorial on this. I realized that one of the bigger issues here, yes, it did upscale it and it looks okay. Okay, but I'm gonna lay this out here. The reason why I'm getting some artifacting here that I don't like is I'm rendering these images is JPEGs. Okay? Instead of PNG, to save hard drive space, whatever. Typically I only do PNGs when I want to do transparencies, when I remove the background. And don't get me wrong, this is okay. Again, it's all about how you originally rendered it. He's still got kind of that plastic look, and that's fine, whatever. But what I'm seeing in the background here, a lot of this banding on the gradients here has a lot to do with the fact that I'm using JPEGs. And so as it's upscaling, it's kind of re-rendering that in, kind of, getting that banding in there. So as you're doing upscales, keep that in mind. If you're planning on upscaling an image, okay, render in JPEGs all you want. When you find an image you want, grab the seed, grab the description. So re-render it again, but change it over to PNG in the settings, okay? And what I mean by that is over here under Save Image Grids, under Settings, you want to change this over to PNG. And then re-render the original image, and then start doing the upscaling process, okay? Or, what we just talked about here, replacing the character, everything else, and then upscaling, you get a much, much better image. So maybe I'll revisit the whole upscale thing in another video and show from beginning to end the different techniques with that and the things you need to watch out for. So that was just one of the things I had forgotten about. Not a big deal. Like I said, it did turn out good. The original point of the video is to show how to replace the character. I hope everybody got something out of that. Hey, like and subscribe to my channel, like the video, and definitely leave comments. Let me know how crappy I'm doing or how awesome I'm doing, whatever it is you want to do, okay? I love to hear back from people. I love responding to people, and we'll talk to y'all later. See ya.